She called him expendable. He took the galaxy instead. They thought he was nothing, just a human, a disposable soldier thrown into a war he didn't start. But when the most powerful woman in the galaxy called him waste, he didn't bow, he didn't beg, he smiled, and in that smile was a promise of something terrifying, because the galaxy was about to learn exactly what happens when you underestimate us. Welcome back to Humanity Prime HFY, where we tell the stories of humans who make the galaxy remember our name. I'm your storyteller for today, your voice inside the chaos. And trust me, you're going to want to hear this one all the way through. Let's begin the story. She called him expendable. He took the galaxy instead. The air inside the high command chamber was cold, almost too clean. A place where no human ever stood without permission. But today, a human stood there, Commander Kael. Tall, broad shoulders, a small scar running from his lip to his chin, the kind of scar that made women wonder how he got it, and whether he enjoyed it. He was flanked by 2 alien guards, each one twice his size, their weapons pressed against his back. But Kael didn't look nervous. If anything, he looked bored. Across the massive hall, in the tallest chair, sat High Command Chairwoman Vera. Her silver hair framed a face that looked carved from stone, and those eyes, cold, sharp, and just a little too curious for someone about to order his death. Her lips curled into a slow, deliberate smile. Commander Kael, human, do you know why you're here? Kael tilted his head, like he was studying her. Because you miss me. The guard shoved him forward. A ripple of shock passed through the alien council members. No one spoke to Vera like that. No one. Vera's smile didn't fade, but her voice dropped, smooth and dangerous. No, you're here because you are expendable. She touched the glowing console beside her, and a large holographic word burned in the air. Rejected. Beneath it, smaller text, expendable waste. Kael's eyes flicked over it, then back to her. Funny, most women who say that to me end up changing their minds later. Somewhere in the hall, a muffled laugh. Vera's eyes narrowed. You think this is a game, human. Kael's smirk was a kind that made enemies want to shoot him, and lovers want to kiss him just to shut him up. No, but you seem like a woman who enjoys playing. Her fingers tapped the arm of her chair. Every movement was deliberate, like a predator choosing when to strike. You were chosen for one reason, Kael, to be sent where no one returns. She leaned forward slightly, her voice lower now, almost intimate. A dead human makes no trouble. Kael didn't blink. A live one might make your pulse race. The silence in the room was thick. Some alien officers were leaning forward, others shifting uncomfortably. The tension between them wasn't just hostile, it was charged. Vera broke the moment first, waving a hand. Take him to Dock 7. Give him a single shuttle, no escort. Let him meet his fate. The guards grabbed Kael's arms, but he didn't resist. As they pulled him away, his voice carried across the hall. See you soon. Darling, try not to miss me too much. Dock 7 smelled like oil and cold metal. The shuttle they gave him looked like it belonged in a junkyard. Its hull was scratched, the weapons outdated. It was, without question, a death sentence. The guards didn't even hide their smirks as they left him alone. But Kael just walked inside, running his hand along the pilot's chair. They thought they were sending him to die. But Kael had grown up in places where death was just part of the air you breathed. And there, survival meant using whatever you had, and whoever underestimated you. He sat down, powered up the shuttle, and muttered to himself, Expendable, huh? Let's see how she likes me, when I'm the one knocking at her door. Hours later, drifting toward the edge of a lawless asteroid belt, Kael's comms lit up. A harsh alien voice crackled through. Unidentified vessel, surrender your cargo or be destroyed. Kael smiled. The pirates didn't know he had nothing worth taking, except himself. And that was more dangerous than any weapon. Sure, Kael said into the comm, voice casual. But why don't you boys come a little closer, so I can see those pretty faces before we get to know each other? They took the bait. 3 ships, bigger and better armed than his, moved in fast. Kael's hands danced over the controls. weaving his battered shuttle between rocks and spinning debris. The pirates chase him deeper and deeper into the asteroid canyon. The walls close in, their ship struggling to maneuver. Kael twisted hard left, then up, and a massive chunk of rock slammed into the lead pirate ship, tearing it apart. The other two tried to pull away, but Kael was already firing. Old guns, but perfectly aimed. When the dust cleared, 3 pirate ships were gone, and 1 human was still standing. Light years away, in the high command chamber, Vera watched the report on a hologram. Her fingers tapped the console slowly, her lips just barely curving upward. Maybe, just maybe, she had sent the wrong man to die. But Kael wasn't done yet. His scanners were picking up something huge, moving in the shadows of the asteroid belt. Something that wasn't supposed to be here. And whatever it was, it had already locked onto his ship. Kael's eyes narrowed as the scanner display lit up. It wasn't a pirate ship. It was bigger, smoother, predator-shaped, and it was fast. He didn't know what it was, but it sure as hell wasn't here by accident. A voice cut into his comms, deep, calm, and female. Not Vera's, but just as dangerous. Human vessel, power down. You have been targeted for retrieval. Kael leaned back in his seat, a slow smile spreading across his face. I don't do retrieval, sweetheart. I do invitations. There was a short silence on the other end. Then the voice replied, with a hint of amusement, Your invitation is not optional. The alien ship came into view. Sleek black hull, sharp glowing lines along its spine, moving like it was alive. Kael could feel the hum of its engines through his own ship. It was on him in seconds. A grappling beam locked onto his shuttle, dragging him toward a docking bay the size of a small city. Kael didn't resist. Not yet. He knew when to wait, and when to bite. The bay doors swallowed him whole. Inside, it was dim, metallic walkways, high observation decks, shadowed figures watching from above. When the airlock hissed open, he stepped out slowly, hands loose at his sides. No fear in his eyes. From the shadows, a figure emerged, tall, slender, skin a deep silver blue. She wore a uniform so form-fitting it looked painted on, and her eyes glowed like molten gold. You must be the human High Command tried to throw away, she said, circling him like she was inspecting a prize. Kael's gaze moved over her, deliberately slow. And you must be the kind of woman who pretends she's not interested until she's alone with the door locked. Her lips twitched. She didn't smile, but she didn't walk away either. I am Captain Thara. I have been ordered to test you. Kael raised an eyebrow. Test me? Funny, most women skip straight to enjoying me. A few alien crew members nearby coughed into their hands, hiding smirks. Thara's eyes sharpened, but there was a flicker, a small, dangerous spark of curiosity. She led him down a long corridor, the walls lined with strange weapons and alien armor. You have one chance, human, she said without turning. Pass my test, and you leave alive. Fail, and you will be spaced. Kael's boots echoed against the floor. Alive, spaced. Either way, sounds like you'll be thinking about me later. They entered a training hall, massive and empty except for a circle of glowing light in the center. Thara gestured toward it. Inside, you fight until you cannot stand. No rules. Kael stepped into the circle without hesitation. The floor under him lit up, and 4 mechanical drones dropped from the ceiling, surrounding him. Each was armed with glowing energy blades. Kael glanced up at the observation deck. And there she was, Vera, sitting in the high seat, watching with that same cold, almost amused expression. Her eyes locked onto his, like a queen watching a gladiator in her arena. The drones moved in fast. Kael ducked under the first blade, grabbing the nearest drone by its arm and twisting until something cracked. He kicked off the broken machine, using its weight to slam into another. 2 down. The third came from behind. He rolled, snatched its weapon mid-swing, and drove it straight into its own core. The fourth was faster, scoring a cut along his shoulder. Kael hissed in pain, but grinned through it. Gonna take more than that to make me sweat, sweetheart. When the last drone fell sparking to the ground, Kael stood in the center of the circle, chest rising, a smear of blood at the corner of his mouth. He looked up at the deck, directly at Vera. Her expression hadn't changed, but her hand rested lightly against her chin. Thinking, calculating, maybe even impressed. Thora stepped forward from the side, her voice low. "You're still standing. Impressive." Kael leaned toward her, his voice just as low. "Careful. Keep saying things like that, and I'll start thinking you're into me." From above, Vera finally spoke. "Enough games. Bring him to me." Kael's grin widened. If she wanted to see him this soon, she was either planning to kill him herself, or she was planning something else entirely. And either way, he was ready. As the guards closed in to escort him, Kael couldn't help but glance at Thora. She met his eyes for a brief moment, and there it was again. That spark, the kind that could burn down a starship, or a whole damn galaxy. The guards escorted Kael through a tall set of doors, and into a room that was nothing like the cold, public high command chamber. This one was darker, warmer. A long curved window showed a slow-moving sea of stars and the faint shape of warships drifting in formation. The light caught on the edges of a large desk at the far end of the room. And behind it, Vera. She wasn't wearing her full ceremonial armor now. Instead, her black command coat was unbuttoned at the top, just enough to make Kael's eyes pull for a half second before he forced them back to her face. Her gaze was steady, unblinking. "Leave us," she told the guards. The doors closed with a hiss. Silence. Kael didn't move closer. If anything, he leaned against the wall like a man who had all the time in the world. Vera tilted her head. "You fight better than I expected, for something that was meant to be discarded." Kael smiled lazily. "And you stare longer than I expected, for someone who supposedly doesn't care." Her lips pressed together. Not quite a smile, but close. "I could end you right here, human." Kael shrugged. "You could, but then you'd never find out what else I'm good at." Vera rose from her chair and walked toward him. Every step was slow, deliberate, her boots echoing against the floor. She stopped just close enough that he could smell the faint trace of her perfume, sharp, metallic, and something sweeter underneath. "You are reckless," she said softly, "and reckless men die quickly." Kael's voice was low, almost playful. "Or they live so hard, people remember them forever." Her eyes searched his, as if trying to decide if he was stupid or dangerous. "Maybe both." "You're in my galaxy, Kael," she said finally. "Everything you do, I will know about. Every step you take, every ship you command, every mistake." Kael's grin widened. "Sounds like you'll be thinking about me a lot." Vera exhaled slowly through her nose, turning away toward the window. "You were sent to die, and yet here you stand. That is inconvenient." Kael pushed off the wall and stepped closer, just enough to make the space between them shrink. Inconvenient can be fun. She didn't turn to look at him, but her voice dropped. "I could assign you to a war zone where even you won't survive." Kael chuckled. "You keep talking about where to put me. You sure you're not just trying to keep me close?" For the first time, her mouth twitched into something almost like a smake, but it vanished just as quickly. "I have an offer," she said, walking back to her desk. Kael raised an eyebrow. "Does it involve dinner?" Her glare was sharp enough to cut steel. "No, it involves command. I have a sector, unstable, full of enemies, full of opportunities. I need someone there who can act without the council watching." Kael leaned in slightly. "So you need a man who doesn't play by your rules, to follow your orders." Vera's voice was ice. "I need a weapon I can point and fire." Kael studied her for a long moment, then walked slowly around her desk, standing beside her chair. He rested one hand lightly on the backrest, leaning just enough to make his presence impossible to ignore. "You can call me expendable all you want, Vera, but if you hand me a sector, I'll own it. And when I own it, you'll have to decide if you're still the one giving orders." Her eyes flicked up to meet his. For the briefest second, something passed between them, a challenge, a spark, and maybe something darker. Finally, she nodded once. "Dock 14. Your fleet will be waiting. Don't disappoint me, Kael." Kael straightened, smiling. "Oh, darling, disappointing you is the last thing I'd ever want to do." Hours later, Kael stood in the hangar at Dock 14, The fleet was nothing like he expected. Half the ships were patched together from scrap. A few looked like they'd been stolen from pirates. And the crews were a mix of mercenaries, smugglers, and outcasts. Exactly his kind of people. As he stepped onto the lead ship, one of the alien engineers, a tall, sharp-tongued woman with bright green eyes, gave him a slow once-over. "So you're the human they call Expendable." Kael grinned at her. "Sweetheart, spend a little time with me, and you'll be calling me a lot of other things." She laughed, shaking her head. "This is going to be interesting." From high above in her command chamber, Vera watched the live feed of Kael boarding his ship. Her fingers tapped the arm of her chair slowly. She wasn't sure if she had just made the smartest move of her career, or unleashed something she couldn't control. Kael's new fleet powered up. The stars shifted ahead of them, and deep in the black, a shadow was moving toward them. Large, silent, and armed, Kael's new fleet drifted through the black like a pack of wolves. Old hulls, mismatched colors, engines that rattle when they push too hard. But they moved with purpose. On the bridge of his flagship, Kael stood with his hand behind his back, eyes locked on the main display. A glowing red marker pulsed on the star map, his first target, a smuggler station, officially neutral. Unofficially, crawling with enemies. His green-eyed engineer, Syrah, leaned on the console next to him. "So what's the plan? Human? Charge in and hope your smile wins the day." Kael's lips curved. "Sweetheart, my smile has won wars." Syrah rolled her eyes, but he caught the hint of a grin before she turned away. They approached the station under false identification. The docking bay opened slowly, metal doors grinding like they hadn't been serviced in years. As the crew disembarked, Kael walked to the front, coat open, shoulders relaxed, every movement screaming, "I belong here." The smuggler guards at the entrance gave him a suspicious look. "You're a long way from Earth, human." Kael didn't even slow down. "Yay, but you're a long way from making me stop." The guard stepped aside, muttering under his breath. Inside, the air smelled of oil, spice, and trouble. Shouts and laughter echoed from a gambling pit, while traders argued over crates of contraband. Kael moved through it all like he was walking through his own living room. His target was in the back, a weapons dealer named Vorik, known for supplying fleets that opposed Vera's rule. Vorik was huge. 4 arms, fangs, a voice like grinding rock. He looked Kael up and down with clear contempt. "You're the human she sent? Ha! She really doesn't care if this place burns." Kael smiled like a man about to win a bet. "Oh, she cares. She just knows I burn hotter." Vorik snorted. "You think you can take this station from me?" Kael stepped closer, lowering his voice. "I think I can take anything from you, if I want it bad enough." A ripple of unease passed through the room. Vorik's men shifted their hands toward their weapons. But before anything could happen, Syrah's voice crackled over Kael's earpiece. "Boss, we've got incoming. Big incoming." Kael's jaw tightened. "How big?" "Big enough that if you don't move now, you'll be a smear on the deck." Kael turned back to Vorik. "You've got a choice, my friend. Run this station with me, or explain to whoever's out there why you're still breathing." Vorik hesitated for just a second too long. The first explosion shook the walls. On the main display in the docking bay, Kael saw it, the same shadow that had been stalking his fleet earlier. Now it was here, and it wasn't hiding. A massive warship, black as the void, bristling with weapons. No markings, no signal. Silent, but deadly. Kael grabbed the nearest comm. "All ships, undock now. Syrah, get my guns ready. We're about to show this thing what Expendable looks like." The smuggler station erupted into chaos. Docking clamps broke free, ships pulling away in every direction. Kael's crew moved fast, but the black warship was already charging weapons. Syrah's voice came through again, urgent. "Kael, I've seen that ship before. It's not just here to kill you. It's here to take you." Kael's grin sharpened. Guess someone feeling lonely. The warship fired. A beam of blinding energy tore through space, missing Kael's ship by meters as he swung it hard to port. The blast ripped the smaller freighter in half. Kael's hands flew over the controls. Lock all forward guns on their bridge. If they want me that bad, let's see if they can handle me up close. The distance closed fast. On the warship's bridge, a tall figure stepped into view on Kael's comm screen. It wasn't Vera. It wasn't anyone he'd seen before. It was a woman. Dark hair, eyes like a storm, a smile that promised trouble. "Commander Kael," she said, her voice like silk over steel. "I've been looking for you." Kael's grin didn't fade. If anything, it got sharper. On his screen, the mysterious woman leaned back in her captain's chair. Her uniform was dark and cut close, the collar open just enough to hint at the curve of her throat. Even through the static, Kael could see the confidence in her eyes, and the hint of something else. "I'm Captain Lyra," she said. "And you, Commander Kael, are coming with me." Kael tilted his head, letting his gaze drift over her image like he was sizing up a challenge. "Sweetheart, most women at least buy me a drink first." Her lips curved, not quite a smile, more like a dare. "You wouldn't survive my drinks." Outside, her warship kept perfect pace with Kael's battered flagship. Every sensor ping showed she could outgun him 10-1, but she wasn't firing. She was waiting. "Tell me," Kael said, leaning against his console, "do you make a habit of chasing down men, or am I just special?" Lyra's eyes narrowed slightly. "You are valuable, more valuable than you know, and your high command doesn't deserve you." Kael chuckled. "You've been talking to Vera, haven't you?" A flicker of amusement crossed her face. "I don't need to. Her mistakes are obvious." Syrah's voice cut in through Kael's earpiece, low and urgent. "Boss, whatever you do, don't trust her." Kael smiled faintly. "Relax, Syrah. I never trust anyone who's prettier than me." Lyra raised an eyebrow at his pause, as if she'd heard him. "Your choice, Kael. Power down and dock, or I will make you." He leaned closer to the comm screen, lowering his voice like he was telling her a secret. "Make me, then." For a moment, there was nothing but the hum of their ship's matching speed. Then she laughed. It wasn't a warm laugh. It was a laugh of someone who enjoyed dangerous games. "You humans," she said, "always thinking you can turn every fight into foreplay." Kael's grin widened, only when the opponent is worth it. Her warship shifted position, pulling closer until the hull filled Kael's forward view. Massive docking clamps extended, reaching for his ship. Syrah's voice came through again. "She's boarding us. Kael, you can't let her get control of the bridge." "I'm counting on it," Kael interrupted. Moments later, the deck shuddered as the docking seals locked. The airlock warning lights flashed red. Kael stood in the center of the bridge, hands at his sides, looking like a man waiting for a dinner date instead of an armed enemy. The doors hissed open, and Lyra stepped through. Up close. She was taller than he expected, the light catching in her hair as she studied him without a word. Her guards flanked her, tall, armored, and clearly trained to kill. "You didn't run," she said finally. Kael took a slow step toward her. "I never run from someone worth catching." Her gaze stayed locked on his, sharp and assessing. "You don't fear me." Kael tilted his head, smiling just enough to be irritating. "Oh, I do. But fear and attraction, they're not that different, are they?" One of her guards shifted uncomfortably. Lyra didn't move. Instead, she reached out and touched the edge of his coat, almost idly. "You're reckless," she murmured. Kael's voice dropped low. "And you like it." The tension between them was broken by Syrah's voice blasting through the comms. Kael, we've got another contact inbound. Big, and it's not friendly." Lyra's eyes flicked toward the sound, then back to him. She stepped closer, so close that he could feel the faint warmth of her breath. "You're coming with me," she said again, softer this time, "if you want to live." Kael glanced toward the viewport. In the distance, something enormous was moving out of the darkness, a shape so massive it blocked the starlight. He looked back at Lyra. "Guess we're about to find out if you're saving me or just stealing me." The massive shape kept growing, and on Kael's tactical display, the system finally tagged it. High Command Dreadnought, Vera's flagship. The Dreadnought loomed like a floating city of war. Its shadow swallowed Lyra's warship, every gun turret locking into place. Kael could almost feel Vera's presence inside it, cold, sharp, and watching. Lyra didn't flinch. She stood on Kael's bridge, hands clasped behind her back, her golden eyes fixed on the massive ship outside. She came fast, Lyra said. Guess she doesn't like me touching her toys. Kael smirked. I'm not anyone's toy. Her gaze slid to him, slow and deliberate. Not yet. The comms crackled to life, and Vera's voice filled the bridge. Calm, but with a razor edge. Commander Kael, step away from that woman. Kael raised an eyebrow. Didn't know you cared, darling. I don't, Vera replied smoothly, but I do care about keeping my property out of enemy hands. Lyra laughed, low, dangerous, amused. Property? No wonder he likes pushing your buttons. You have no idea what you've got here. The two women stared at each other through the comm screens, the air between them electric with unspoken challenges. Kael couldn't help himself. Should I be flattered you're both fighting over me, or worried? Neither of them answered. Instead, Vera's tone hardened. Kael, you have 10 seconds to decide. Come back to me, or I will destroy that ship with you on it. Lyra's lips curved into a slow, taunting smile. She's bluffing. She won't risk killing you. Kael chuckled. Funny, that's exactly what she said about me once. On the tactical display, the Dreadnought's main cannon began to charge. A deep hum filled the bridge, the glow from the weapons core spilling across Lyra's face. Syrah's voice cut in from engineering, urgent and tight. Kael, if that cannon fires, we won't have time to dodge. I've got 2 escape vectors ready. One takes us toward Lyra's fleet, the other toward Vera's lines. Kael's eyes flicked between the 2 women on the comm screens. Both were waiting, both confident he'd choose them. Lyra stepped closer to him, her voice dropping so only he could hear. Stay with me, Kael, and you'll have more than just a command. You'll have freedom. No orders. No leash. She leaned in just slightly, her breath warm on his ear. And maybe I'll let you see what's under this uniform. Kael's grin widened despite himself. You do make a strong case. Then Vera's voice cut in, lower now, almost personal. Kael, remember who gave you that fleet. Remember who made you more than expendable. You owe me. His smirk faded just enough to make her eyes narrow. You're right, Kael said. I do owe you, but I also don't like being told what I can't have. For a moment, the 3 of them just stared at each other across the void, the human who shouldn't matter, and the 2 most dangerous women in the sector. The hum of the Dreadnought's cannon grew louder. Syrah shouted over the comm, Boss, pick now or we're space dust. Kael looked at Lyra, then at Vera, then at the massive gun aimed straight at them. His hand hovered over the control panel, ready to punch in his escape vector. Both women leaned forward slightly, watching his every move. Kael smiled, the kind of smile that promised trouble. All right, let's make this interesting. His fingers slammed the command key, but instead of choosing either escape vector, he sent his ship into a sudden, violent spin, engines screaming as they dove straight between the 2 fleets. Lyra swore under her breath. Vera's eyes narrowed like a blade's edge. Kael's voice was pure amusement. If you want me, you're both gonna have to work for it. But as his ship broke through the dead zone between the 2 massive warships, something else appeared. A 3rd vessel. No markings. Black hull-like glass. And every sensor screamed the same warning. Unknown threat level. Maximum. It didn't move like any ship Kael had ever seen. It didn't broadcast. It just appeared. And then, without a single word, it powered a weapon unlike anything in the galaxy. The black glass ship hung in space like a predator waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Its surface shimmered, almost like it was made of liquid metal, shifting and flowing under the light of nearby stars. Every system on Kael's bridge screamed warnings. Weapons locked, shields straining just from its presence. Syrah's voice came tight through the comm. Boss, I've never seen tech like this. Whatever it is, it's way beyond anything the galaxy has. Kael grinned without looking away from the display. Good. I hate boring enemies. Vera's voice cut in, sharp and commanding. Kael, retreat to my formation. Now, that's not something you can handle alone. Lyra's voice followed instantly, dripping with challenge. Or bring him to my side, and we'll take it apart together." Kael chuckled. "You two really don't know how tempting you sound when you're trying to outdo each other." But before either could respond, the black ship moved. Not fast, just suddenly there, closing the distance in a blink, ignoring both massive fleets. It was coming straight for him. Kael's instincts kicked in. Evasive pattern Delta 9. "Sirrah, give me full power to forward shields." The ship swerved, engines roaring, but the black vessel matched every move perfectly. It wasn't chasing him, it was studying him. Lyra's voice came again, sharper now. "Kael, that thing is locking onto your biosignature." Vera's tone dropped low, urgent. "They are here for you, human. You need protection." Kael cut her off. "Ladies, I appreciate the concern, but if they wanted me dead, I'd already be dust." The black ship pulsed with a strange light. Then a deep, resonant voice filled Kael's bridge, not through comms, but inside his head. "Human, you are not expendable. You are the catalyst." Kael blinked once. "Well, that's new." The voice was calm, ancient. "Two queens fight for your loyalty, but you belong to no one." Kael smirked. "Finally, someone who gets me." Outside, both Vera's dreadnought and Lyra's warship turned their full arsenals on the black ship. Energy beams and missiles streaked through space and hit nothing. The black vessel shimmered, and every attack simply bent away, disappearing into nothing. Syrah swore under her breath. "They can't touch it. Boss, this thing's untouchable." Kael's grin didn't fade. "Untouchable just means it hasn't met me yet." The voice came again. "If you survive the next move, human, the galaxy will follow you." Kael leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "Guess I better make it a good one." He hit the thrusters, driving his battered flagship directly toward the black ship's hull. The crews on both Vera's and Lyra's ships shouted warnings, but Kael didn't slow. At the last second, he cut engines, letting the ship drift, shields flaring as they scrape along the alien surface. For a split second, Kael was close enough to see something beneath the shifting metal. Shapes, structures, like a city built into the ship itself. And in the center, a glowing human silhouette. Syrah's voice cracked with disbelief. "Boss, that's a person in there." Before Kael could respond, a surge of light burst from the black hull, throwing his ship clear. The alien voice echoed one last time. "Choose your war, Commander, or I will choose it for you." The black ship vanished. No jump signature. No trace. Gone, like it was never there. Kael sat back in his chair, heart still racing. His comms exploded with Vera and Lyra's voices overlapping. Orders, demands, accusations. "Kael, report to my flagship immediately." Vera snapped. "Kael, ignore her. Dock with me. Now." Lyra countered. Kael just smiled to himself. "Looks like the galaxy is getting a little too interested in me." He cut the comm feed to both women, leaving them fuming. For now, they could fight without him. He had bigger questions. Who was inside that ship? Why did it know his name? And what war was it talking about? Outside, the two fleets stayed locked in a silent standoff, both watching him, both waiting for his choice. Kael leaned back, lacing his fingers behind his head. "Guess it's time to see who wants me more."